Thanks, Tim, and happy Friday to you and your viewers. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the chairman of Krakatoa, and my name's Colin Locke. So today I'm going to be sharing with your investors several robust reasons why Krakatoa, KTA is the code, is a genuine hidden gem in the full context of its meaning. First, let's go through Mount Clare and its potential to host iron absorption clay rees. Now, then, time permitting, will enlighten viewers to some deep drilling in the Lachlan Fold that could also be a game changer for our investors. So, the Mount Clare clay-hosted Ree project is 100% owned by Krakatoa and is in the Tier 1 mining jurisdiction of Western Australia. We were first attracted to the project for its clay-hosted Ree potential, as documented but never proved by other explorers who weren't hunting for Rees at the time. This was back in 2019. So let's give investors a brief background as to this exciting project, and then we'll move on to the slideshow after that. So, as mentioned, the Mount Clare Rare Earth project was first acquired in 2019 via non-dilutive applications. Again, it's 100% owned, and we've been under the radar ever since. Now, I'll tell you why we've been under the radar. For two reasons. A, we were negotiating heritage agreements with two Aboriginal groups. Now, we could have blazed away with our pen and signed the templates off, but we didn't feel that the agreements in their current format were anything to do with mining. Now, the board and I always have the vision that Mount Clare will be mined. So we needed to make some amendments, and that took some time with those two Aboriginal groups. That's now been done, and we should be smooth sailing into mining, and those agreements can be the backbone of that. We get along with those groups very well. While that was going on in the background, we acquired substantially more ground, very strategically, and so much to an extent where now we control a dominant landholding in the area, and we pegged over 2,000 kilometres of ground and strategic ground. As we were doing that pegging, despite the fact that we were trying to keep under the radar, a pegging frenzy ensued all around us. How do we peg so much strategic ground? Two words. Fellow director David Palumbo, and he also sends his regards to shareholders. So the first tenements were only granted early this year, and we now have the dominant landholding on the northwestern margin of the Yilgarn Craton in the Gascoyne in Western Australia. So look, the satellite imagery looks consistent over all those tenements, over the 2,000 square kilometres, as does the geophysics. So, subject to grant, we've carried out 2 field missions, of which we discovered, what did we discover? Well, I'll tell you. We discovered widespread, high-grade, clay-hosted rees with magnetic elements, with magnetic ingredients such as neodymium, praseodymium, and dysprosium, to name a few, averaging over 25% and up to 33%. So what I'm saying is Mount Clare is rapidly unfolding into a major discovery with all the hallmarks of a globally significant clay-hosted Ree project. Our CEO, Mark Major, is currently on site right now preparing for a maiden drill campaign scheduled for next quarter. So we're getting right on with the job here. Corporately, the option overhang's now gone. As of the 31st of July, that was 85 million options at an exercise price of 5 cents. A big overhang, now gone. And incidentally, I borrowed the entire amount to exercise my options, and I put my house on it as collateral. So KTA is now cashed up to determine the nature and the scale of this Mount Clare discovery. We have a rock solid top 50 shareholders trading at 5 cents, a market cap of a mere 14 million. So Krakatoa's a contender and flexing its muscles as the value proposition on the table. So look, the runway's clear for takeoff, and this chat serves as an invitation for investors to join me as a shareholder. Perhaps now we should briefly go through the preso. So there we are, market cap of approximately 15 mil. There's a tight capital structure of under 300 on issue. EV of no more options left. You know, we've got a great team, all handpicked for discovery potential. We can move to the next slide now. I know we haven't got a lot of time. That shows you exactly where we are. As mentioned, we're on the northwestern margins of the Yilgarn Craton in the Gascoyne, Western Australia. We've got a dominant land position. We've got other elements that I'm not going to touch on because we're not going to have time, but I'll briefly touch on. But it's the whole area is also prospective for nickel copper sulfide and PGEs. So let's move to the next slide. So we're targeting multiple rare earth types, particularly ion absorption clays and also monazite sands in vast alluvial terraces. With you know, previous explorers have commented and documented the rees, but no one's ever really got stuck into it except for us. So let's move on to the next slide. I'm just being brief, apologies for that. So this is what these two field missions proved just recently, just this year, that we have widespread high-grade rees, and they're recently discovered, and that these are in the stream sediments. And you know, there's some comments on other explorers' observations before we were there, and they were comments from a long time ago, before rees really hit the spotlight. Next. Thanks for your assistance with these slides. Now, this is a pretty serious area of interest. You'll see the purple there. That is a lateritic cap, and the clay-hosted rees are believed to be underneath there. The drilling will soon tell. But check out some of these numbers. I mean 10,000 ppm, 8,000 ppm, 7,000, etc., of total rare earth oxides just in the stream sediments. And again, up to 33% magnetic elements, averaging 25%. So look, with that, just in that circle there, there's about 150 kilometres of target area, and the main zone's at least 30 kilometres. I mean, we've got scale here, no doubt about it. I think this slide's fairly important. We're not completely comparing ourselves with Australian Rare Earths, AR3, or we're not saying we're the same. Both of these do have resources, but what this is outlining to investors is the potential that we have as soon as we prove up a resource. So just briefly, we've got Australian Rare Earths, a newly listed company with a market cap of 123 million last time I looked, 100% owned. That's also in Australia. And they've got a JORC and 123 million market cap. Krakatoa's got 15 million market cap. Ionic Rare Earths is another listed company on the ASX with their project in Uganda, their Makutu project in Uganda. They have 60% with a preemptive right to 100%. So they've also got a resource, and you can see the rewards should we and when we delineate a resource. So far we're going to be. This is why we're going to be drilling next year. Sorry, next quarter. There's also prospective, as mentioned, for nickel, copper, and platinum group. And PGEs, decent anomalies there, some good numbers in the rock chips, further work to do, but we're getting stuck into it as we speak. This just shows dominant landholding and some of the neighbours, which includes Chalice, Buxton, Rare X, etc. We're going through this really fast because this is going to be available on our website. So what's coming up? An intense 6-month program. The main crux of our program is work out whether or not we have ion absorption clay rees. We know we've got the clay rees, whether they're ion absorption or not, is yet to be tested. And we're doing more stream sediment work as we speak, and we're going to do an airborne EM survey to check out the nature of the nickel copper sulfides also next quarter. And Mark Major is up there on site now, and he's gearing up for a drilling campaign. So we look forward to unlocking Mount Clare's considerable wealth for shareholders mainly by reporting the nature and scale of its recent rediscoveries. We'll be drilling for ion absorption clay-hosted reefs, as mentioned, next quarter. And we'll be doing that EM survey to look for drill targets for the nickel copper sulfides. Yeah, we're getting on with the job.
Thanks, Colin. You got time for some questions?
Sure.
Now, originally when we had Krakatoa on, and it was some time back, your focus was gold. Why the focus now on rare earths, and what does that mean for your gold assets?
Well, with Krakatoa, the main focus, or the early focus, was on the rare earths. Let's not forget, we made our first acquisition in June 2019. The Belgravia gold that we acquired was later in 2019. It's just, again, this is why we're on hidden gems. It's been a hidden gem because the rare earths, and particularly the clay-hosted rees, were always there, but we had to get heritage agreements done before they could be granted. So, if you like, the gold came second.
Understood.
We actually acquired the rare earths before Ionic Rare Earths acquired theirs in Uganda by about a month. But they had the luxury of not having to go through the heritage agreements. So that's why they're ahead of us, and we'll look to rapidly catch up as best we can.
And can you talk about briefly about the services and access to the Mount Clare project, and what work needs to happen for a major mining operation to take off?
Well, the good thing about clay-hosted rees is that they're generally superficial. It's fairly easy to drill. It's in the regolith, so it's typically shallow drilling. Access is easy. There's no farmland where we are, so there's none of the environmental problems, or there's far less environmental problems. There's far less landholder access issues. No one's grazing. They're not growing wheat. There's no crops there. I can tell you, Tim, it's like a lunar landscape. There's nothing out there, and that's the beauty about it. And we've got vast areas of it, vast areas of lunar landscape just ready to be drilled. I mean, widespread clays, widespread. I mean, look at those last numbers on those last two announcements we've done. I mean, if they're indicative of the 2,000 kilometres, we're a contender for the leverage, the leverage play in the room.
And you've got a number of targets there. How do you know where to start?
Well, that's why Mark Major's up there now leading a campaign, and he's looking for the most robust drill targeting. But we'll get right into it, and we'll get on with the job. So the access is no problem. The drilling won't be any problem, and we'll look to rapidly catch up to those two peers that are mentioned in this presentation. Also, as a matter of interest, just quickly and briefly, we haven't forgotten about the gold. I just with a limited amount of time, just want to focus on Mount Clare, but we're going to be doing some deep drilling in the Molong volcanic belt in the Lachlan Fold in New South Wales, scheduled for next quarter. This is going to be deep drilling. And this Molong volcanic belt's only about 110 kilometres long. It's very thin. You've got Australia's biggest gold mine and most lucrative Cadia, only 35 kilometres south of us. And you've got the Boda discovery only 70 kilometres north of us. Let's not forget when Alkane made that Boda discovery also in 2019, that one hole increased their market cap by approximately 200 million. And that one hole was 502 metres of 48 grams a tonne of gold and 0.2 of copper, 200 mil increase in their market cap. So we're going deep to 650 metres and 350 metres, 450 metres. We're going for a big porphyry discovery here too.